Hi everyone, Dr. Mike here. Now let's look at proteins, which is another type of macromolecule. Now as we've been going through looking at carbs, looking at fats, and now proteins, I've told you what type of atoms compose the majority of these types of macromolecules. When it comes to proteins, just like the others, contains carbon, contains hydrogen, contains oxygen, but one difference is that they contain nitrogen. Okay? Now just like fats and carbohydrates, they're made up of basic subunits or monomers, and then they're built up to what we call polymers or bigger molecules. In this case, we're looking at, as the monomer, the smallest subunit is that of the amino acid. So that's where we're going to begin. Now, an amino acid is made up of an amine group. Now, the amine group is simply a nitrogen with two hydrogen. That's what's called an amine. Then what we've got is on the other end, a carbon with a double bond oxygen and OH. This is called a carboxyl group. You would have seen the carboxyl group again in the fats and also in the carbohydrates. And together, what you'll find is carboxyl is also termed carboxylic acid. And this is where the name amino acid comes from. The amino group or the amine group and the carboxylic acid together is amino acid. Now the third thing that an amino acid has is this functional group. This is what makes an amino acid different. So every amino acid has this core structure of the amine, the carbon, and the carboxyl. The difference is this functional group on the end. Now, there's 20 different types of amino acids. Now, there's some that are called essential amino acids. These are amino acids that we cannot make. We must get these from our diet. The rest, there's about 6 to 8 of them. The rest we can make ourselves. Now, this functional group on the end, this is the thing, like I said, that makes them different. Some of these functional groups have specific characteristics or properties or personalities that make them so different. For example, some may be hydrophobic. That means they don't like being near water. Some may be acidic, some may be basic. Some may be quite positive, some may be negative, and some may actually like water, being close to water, called hydrophilic. Now this is important because when we take an amino acid and we click it together with another amino acid, which is what we're doing here, we're starting to create what we call a polypeptide. This is a polymer, this is a chain of amino acids. So we simply take one amino acid and another amino acid, and just like we spoke about when we were clicking together monomers of carbohydrates, like glycerol for example, and when we're clicking together fats, we go through a process of dehydration. We need to remove a water molecule. And here you can see we take the OH group here from the carboxyl end of one amino acid, and we take a hydrogen from the amine side of another amino acid. Together, we've taken away water, H2O, and now we've clicked two amino acids together, and we continue to do this to create a polypeptide. Now, when we create a nice long polypeptide chain, which we've got here, we're starting to move towards something that's resembling a protein, but not yet. What you'll see is we've got this nice long chain with all these different functional groups. Now, it's the functional groups that alter this nice long linear polypeptide and tell it to fold in upon itself. How does this work? Okay. If one of these functional groups is positive and another is negative, they're going to want to be close to each other, okay? So they arrange themselves to be near each other. If both are positive, then they'll want to be away from each other, and they'll fold themselves so they are away from each other. You may have one that likes water, or a couple that like water. That means they're going to fold themselves so they're exposed to the liquid environment. You're going to have some that hate water, so it wants to embed itself deep within the protein. You're going to have some acids and some bases, and this also is going to alter the way that it folds itself. And what ultimately happens is you get this three-dimensional, what we call a quaternary structure of a folded polypeptide or group of polypeptides into something called a protein. And now this folded protein is what actually has the function in our body. There's around about 20,000 to 50,000 proteins that our body makes, okay, from our genetic material. And when you're looking at me right now, you're basically looking at all my proteins. So it makes up the majority of my skin and my eyes. It has all the functions in the body. They basically make enzyme, or they are enzymes. So this makes reactions happen millions of times faster than they would without enzymes. They shuttle things by picking things up and taking them elsewhere. They can be receptors. They can bind to other things. Proteins have all the function in the body, so they're extremely important. And it's these functional groups that fold it into its functional property. And if you have a problem with it, could even just be a single amino acid, it could change this one from an acid to a base. That changes the way it folds, that alters the function of the protein. This is one way that mutations in our DNA can affect our protein's functions. So this is proteins as a macromolecule.